Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Prepper Podcast. I'm Mike, and I'm joined today by my guest, Jim. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you.
Jim is a voice of the prepping world. He's has his own show on. We'll do the radio plug at the start, I think, just to explain
Fair
where
enough.
you come from. So Jim is part of the team over at we have to say the words "no shit radio." There's no avoiding it. That's the name. So I apologize for anyone offended, but that's what it is. And this is the Mixcloud address where you can listen to it directly. You've also got social medias. Do you want to just tell the people a bit about the radio station?
Yeah, the radio station basically is it's a voluntary sort of participation from everybody that does it. So we all sort of put together a show of some sort. The bulk of it would be music based. One of mine, or mine being one of the ones which isn't music based, effectively. And we just basically put together a show as often as possible. I do one about every other week, and that gives me time then to sort of be able to go out and do something and talk about what I've done, rather than just talk about stuff and then not really sort of go and do it. You know, I'm one of these ones that I think a lot of my life has been spent listening to people that are all talk and no show. And I'm very much, if I'm going to talk about it, I've done it. So, you know, it's an interesting one for me. It was something that I had never even thought about doing. YouTube was something that had entered my mind maybe sort of like 5 years ago, and it didn't sort of pan out for me at the time. But then the opportunity came along to do a radio show. So I took that opportunity, and here we are now.
Maybe I should have done that. Everyone tells me I've got a face for radio. I don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
I ask everyone who joins the show the first initial couple of questions. So the first question is, because of the stigma around the word, is, are you a prepper?
100%, yes. I would like to think that I'm more than a prepper by a long shot. For me, prepping is, for a lot of people, the bulk of people, let's say, from my opinion, is very much sitting behind a computer, tapping away, and really not actually doing what they need to do to be able to be prepared. There are also a nice amount of people that are very upfront with what they do and also go out and do stuff. So, you know, they hold a lot more weight for me than a lot of other people. But yeah, 100%, I see myself as a prepper. I'm very much into bushcraft and survival and camping and hiking. And I just basically try to do everything that I feel that would benefit me in an SHTF situation. So if that means I need to learn 20 different disciplines, that's what I'm doing.
Would you say that falls more in the category of you being classed as what they would say now, not previous definitions, but now as a survivalist rather than a prepper?
Potentially. I mean, I tick all the boxes for a prepper. There's no doubt about that. I've got my 3 months worth of food sitting at home. I've got my plastic sheeting and duct tape to be able to do the windows. I've got my bug out bag. I've got my inch bag. You know, my car is absolutely rammed 90% of the time. So if anything ever happened randomly today, obviously with the internet going down and the flights being grounded and the banks being shut and stuff, we were just sort of joking on our group that it's all kicking off. I said, right, well, I'm packed and ready to go. So, you know, it's one of those things where I had someone say to me a little while ago, and it wasn't me that answered it, but I 100% agree with the answer. Now, it was basically, I was doing a fire demo for someone, a group of people, and it was very much, well, you know, this is bushcraft. What's this to do with prepping? And the answer that came back before I could answer it was, bushcraft's what you do when you run out of your preps.
Yeah, this is it.
So, you know, and I totally agree with that, because I've got my preps, but they're going to last so long. They're always going to run out.
Yeah.
That tides you over the short term. That gives you that breathing space. But obviously having the opportunity to be able to exploit what is around you by having that knowledge and having that practice is a great benefit.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of these preppers may be naive to think that whatever amount, whether it's a month or whether it's 3 months they've supplied or even a year, they all seem to think by the end of that point, everything's going to be back to normal. And, Amazon's going to be delivering next day again, which I don't think is the way it's going to work.
Yeah.
One of my friends who joins us on the Prepper Fireside, he's Dan. He started the startprepping.co.uk website.
Right.
He believes in more. All of Hollywood pictures say it's going to be a big event, Black Swan event. Yeah. Something big's going to happen. Everything's going to go off, and it's going to be SHTF overnight.
Yeah.
Whereas he's talks about the crumbles, and that somebody else mentions it on a podcast he listened to, and it's just everything slowly deteriorating and ratcheting down and getting less reliable and less accessible and stuff like that.
And that's exactly what we're seeing now.
Yeah,
we're already in it. I think most people that are open-minded enough will see that we're already on the slope. We're already heading downhill. It's on us. I wouldn't like to say it's on the governments, because I think we all have an opinion on those. But I think it's on us to be able to put ourselves in the best possible position going forward, so that when it gets to the stage where we find that it's really hard to actually have normal day-to-day life, we're in a better situation than the person standing next to you.
Yeah. Definitely. Is there something like, are you generally, I mean, being a survivalist, it's probably is very general, but is there something that started you prepping, like a big event or something you're prepping for?
No, not really. Generally, I think I started off pretty much prepping for day-to-day occurrences, small stuff. I started a long time ago. I think probably my first recollection of feeling that I needed to do more myself was probably around about 14, 15 years old. And at that point, I definitely felt that I could do more, and I needed to learn more, and I needed to not rely on other people. And that's kind of pushed me forwards a lot, is that I don't want to have to fall back on someone else to look after me.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously growing up, you end up moving into different disciplines and different things. I mean, I tried the army, didn't get on with that. And then moved into sort of kind of shadowing it to a certain degree. I took what I wanted from when I was there, which was a very short period of time, but there was enough there that spurred me on.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did was I thought, well, I like that bit, I'm going to have that. And then I'm going to take this bit that they didn't teach me, I'm going to learn that. And slowly over the last, what is it now, like 35 years, I've picked up a lot. Let's say that. I'm quite comfortable.
Would you say it's more important for people? We get a lot of new preppers that come on the channel. Would you say the skill set is much more important than the buying? Because you do get a lot of people, all the gear, no idea, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very hard thing to get away from when you're a new prepper. And it's one of the reasons why I was very happy to do the show, because I sort of base the show around, if you're new to prepping, what I'm telling you would be useful. I'm not expecting, anyone really to be listening to the show that are at the level potentially that I'm at or higher, because all I'm doing is I'm telling them what they already know. What I'm trying to do is get people that are interested in it, that have seen in the last 4 years that there is a benefit in it, and it's not so much something that they should be ashamed of doing or try to keep quiet. And just help them along their journey, really, to try and speed them along, because the more of us that are prepared, the better the country will be at the end of the day.
Yeah. With the recent release as well not release, because they've always had the kind of same advice, but the recent relaunch of the government prepare site.
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah, exactly. The whole thing's with a pinch of salt. I did a couple of tongue-in-cheek videos based on it. But do you think from somebody who's never even thought about it, especially when you speak to somebody and they're like, no, you know, and they literally buy the meal that they're going to eat that day. Do you think that helps them start something like that? Do you think it's a step in the right direction?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Because anything that makes them think is a good thing. So if the government's saying it, although, like I said, we all have our opinions on the government, if they brought it to the attention of a wider audience, then yes, it's a good thing. Because potentially what they'll do is they'll look at that and then they'll go, oh, well, I've got what the government says. Maybe I need to get a few more things. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to learn that. And that potentially is where, say, I would come in at that point, because you've already got the basics. Right, now we need to start looking at, rather than just keeping a few things in your house, where do you go every day? You go to work 9 times out of 10, unless you're luckier to work at home. So where do you keep your preps? You keep them at home 9 times out of 10. So you got to get home. You know, there's very much a view when you join prepping that it's like, I got to buy this, I got to buy that, or I need a bug out bag. Oh, I'll buy a ready-made bug out bag. No, just don't do it. It's just,
don't do it.
You know, and to tell you the truth, I mean, I have told, and I've told many people face to face, and I've said on the show, don't even go down the routes of a bug out bag. The first thing to do if you want to build a bag is do a get home bag, because it's more tailored to that journey that you know on a day-to-day basis, and it will get you back to where you're safe, you're covered, you've got a roof over your head, you've got your preps there, and it's a bit of security. Bugging out should be the very last thing you want to do, because effectively you're homeless at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious because you get these ready-made ones. I mean, if you completely just want something in the cupboard so you feel better about the situation, fine, go and get a ready-made one. It can sit there, gather dust, and I wouldn't recommend it. No. It is very personal, these things.
Yeah, 100%.
I got critiques on my channel because I did a video for my get-home bag. This is my personal get-home bag. What I need to get home from the furthest point I would ever be, like my workplace. You know, if it broke down any closer, bonus. Other than that, that's what I did it for.
Yeah.
And I'm not overloading it. I don't want to put in like everything you'd have in a bug out bag. I'm not trying to live out there for 3 days. It's about literally head down, tab, get home as quickly as you can.
Exactly.
So it's got to be personal. And people just, you can't critique somebody else's get home bag if you don't know their situation, right?
No. I mean, all you can do is you can listen to the reasons why they have them in there. And I mean, this is what I do. I like to watch other people's bags. You know, they do their breakdown. They talk about why they've got it in it. And I never look at it and go, well, that's a load of crap. What I do is I look at it and go, I don't need any of that.
Yeah, it's good. If
I
you
like
need
the
to
idea
take
of
any
that.
advice, yeah.
Maybe I'll put that in mine. You know, I hadn't thought of that one. It's a very weird world that we're in, to tell you the truth, in the prepping world as a whole, because you can have some very negative people that feel that they know absolutely everything, and that what you've got, if it isn't the same as theirs, you're crap, and that's not true.
Yeah,
you know, it's one of those things where I like to mix with people that are happy to share information. And it's very much, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Because you are very much on the same line as what I am when it comes down to prepping. We've already had a discussion previously. There are certain people that both of us are not great fans of. And that is due to the fact that, you know, a lot of it is very much, I do this, I do that. What you do is a load of crap. And ultimately they know everything and we know nothing. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
You know, I would absolutely love to have them side by side with me in an SHTF situation. And I guarantee that it would fail.
I've said it many times. Survival to me, all the stuff, everything behind me, everything upstairs, everything in storage, everything I've got is a bonus. Survival to me is a mental attitude. Some of these people that are keyboard warriors and buy all the gear, but they've never practiced, I would gamble on myself with a pocket knife over them with everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, keyboard warriors. I like that one. Yeah, that's very good. And it is exactly what it is, isn't it? You know, I mean, I'm a member of like many forums, and there are very few people on there that actually demonstrate to the rest of the members that they can actually do what they say. And like I said before, I'm one of these ones where if I'm saying I can do it, I damn well can, and I can prove it. And I do on a regular basis, whether it be video, whether it be out with the guys, or whether it be me posting what I've done, what I've made, what I've, sort of. So that it gives at least some sort of worth to the advice that I'm giving, because it's based on experience rather than just what you've Googled and you've then copied and pasted, which gets me every time. You look at it and you go, that's a load of crap.
And as long as you're open, as somebody that gives that information out, as long as you're open to receiving it as well, that's half 100%. The battle. Because I've learned so much off the comments, not the keyboard warrior ones, but somebody saying, oh, have you just thought about this? And every so often it does trigger something. It's like, oh, it's a great idea. So I tell people, listen, I'm learning as I go as well. Everything is new. I used to work 10 miles away. Get home bag wasn't really necessary. It was just a long walk. Now I work 90 odd miles away.
Right. Okay. So it's a decent distance.
So the first or second week in September, I'm tabbing 100 miles.
Wow. Okay.
With a bag.
Good luck.
To test it. Yeah. Well, I'd rather do it there.
Yeah.
While we're in peacetime and I can ring somebody up going, pick me up, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Then test it when I have to, So it's about practicing. It's about putting that into motion.
100%. Yeah. Practice is everything. It's practice for me. A lot of people will say, oh, what did you do at the weekend? I just disappeared into the woods for 2 days. And they go, oh, what were you doing? Camping. I was living. So I'm cutting down trees. I'm prepping wood. I'm making fires. I'm setting up a tarp. I'm sleeping underneath it. I'm cooking over a fire. These are all things that you need to be able to fall back on when your preps have run out or failed or been stolen or you've lost them. You know, if you have any of those things go wrong, then you're in a world of hurt if you haven't got something else to fall back on.
Yeah. In business, I've always said, don't have a plan B, because you won't concentrate on plan A. Prepping is the complete opposite. Have A, B, C, D, E, F.
Have as many plans as you can get. Definitely.
Yeah.
Gives you options.
So for yourself, are you lone wolf or more of a mag kind of thing? What's your mentality on that?
It has been lone wolf for a very long period of time. It wasn't necessarily something that was it wasn't my choice. Let's just say in the last 5 years, the prepping journey for me has become a lot more open. Whereas beforehand it was a very lonely thing to be doing because everybody was paranoid. No one wanted to talk to anybody. There was a massive stigma over it. So you kept it to yourself. And I felt that was an extremely lonely thing to do. Yeah, it never stopped me from doing it because I saw the worth in doing it. In the last 5 years, let's say, things have opened up and I have spoken to many different people about it. And it's got to the stage now where potentially, yes, I could class myself as being in a mag, but they're not close enough for me to be able to actually call on them in that situation. So I would end up falling back to being lone wolf at that point. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have my partner who is very on board with what we do. She's definitely not going to class herself as a prepper. She's very much a bushcraft and survivalist in the fact that she is extremely comfortable with what we do when we're away. So we'll go away for a couple of days. We'll go away for a long weekend. We'll go away for a week at a time. Doesn't really matter how long it is, but we have our routine. We work very well together. And for me at that point, my plan, if say for instance I'm at work and something happens, my plan is to get home. We don't live together, so I would get home to mine, pick up the rest of my gear that I need, so then it would assist me in my journey to get to her, which is another 26 miles from mine. So And then at that point, it's very much sort of get into doing what we need to do to be able to make sure that her place is secure. Now, obviously, if she's closer to me, she comes to mine, and we have a plan, and that plan is one of the things that I talk about and have advised so many people to do as a starting as a prepper. You've got to have a plan.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know, you got members of family. Do they know what to do if something goes wrong?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to have a plan. You got to sit down. You got to have a map. You got to say, right, we're here. We need to get to here. You're there. You need to get to here. If you don't hear from me by so and so time, you're then going to nannies, grannies, whatever. You know, and there is at least some formulation of what's going to happen if something happens.
Yeah. I've got that with my partner, like if she's at work, if she's out and about, etc. And there's always a central meeting point. If that's compromised, as secondary.
Yeah.
So, and she's very much the same. She's not a prepper. She wouldn't class herself as a prepper.
Yeah.
But I found her now when we're going around we went to the wholesalers earlier on today, and she's going, "Oh, that'd be good. They'd store well."
Yeah.
Could you put these in Mylar bags? I'm like,
you do changed. Get that, didn't you? Yeah.
So, but it's good. I mean, maybe they should start a Preppers Wives Club. That's going to be the next one, isn't it?
Potentially. I mean, that is actually, it's one of the things that I'm really happy that my partner comes with me to the prepper meets, because what it is it shows that it's not just a male dominated all male thing and women aren't welcome. You know, it's bring your partners if they're happy to come along. What it does is it introduces the fact that we're all in it together, rather than this is a male thing and you're there to sort of like look after the kids.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's I've not even pitched the subject of her coming along yet.
Well, you should do.
We'll wait and see on that one. But she's never been camping in her life. That's the one downside. So she's going to be.
Maybe you need to break her in easy though.
Yeah, I'll break her in with airbeds before I stick her out in the wilderness under a tarp. So you mentioned you've got an inch bag. I see that is a massive commitment as a prepper. The psychology in just putting one together is a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at it from, I mean, obviously inch is very much an American term. I'm never coming home, or I'm not coming home. And it's not really, I would say that's quite often in this country, it's frowned upon to refer to American terms when it comes down to prepping. But what we all got to admit is that America are the kings of prepping at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course.
We are adapting what they have already got well established to us in this country. So everybody just has to forgive me for using American terms every now and then for my bags, my kit, whatever else.
That's fine. Yeah, everybody doesn't. We know what the keyboard warriors are like. The message to you is that's the message to you. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, inch is basically a bug out bag on steroids and add the kitchen sink. That's the easiest way to describe it. For me, I looked at it as, right, I need 2 bug out bags worth of gear. When you're looking at what, you know, the size of what you're carrying, because the whole principle of a bug out bag is you're going away for a period of time and you will be coming home. That's what a bug out bag is. An inch bag is you're going to need everything that's going to help you survive and set up home somewhere else, because you're not coming home.
Yeah.
So there are obviously elements of what you would normally put in a bug out bag that are going to go in an inch bag. You know, you need the stuff that's going to be able to get you from A to B in a safe and relatively healthy condition by the time you get there. Now, where that would be part of your plan. You need to work that one out. But equally, you need to be able to carry tools to be able to assist you when you get to where you're going, and also the knowledge. And the knowledge weighs nothing. It just takes time to learn. That's all. And that, for me, is very much the most valuable part of what I do when it comes down to prepping and survivalism, is having the knowledge to be able to take something that wouldn't necessarily be used for that and use it for 20 different things.
Yeah.
Because it means you carry less. You can use more stuff and more options, and sort of go down that route. But there's a lot of stuff that people don't also consider when building an inch bag. And I've had a lot of people even ask me, what is an inch bag?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's different stages of being in prepping. But paperwork, for one, I appreciate that the whole idea of an inch bag is you're not coming home, but no one really wants to. Your home is your home. You always want to go back. There has to be an option for that. And paperwork is one of those things. I just have mine in a big waterproof folder, and that goes down. It's marriage certificate. It's basically birth certificate. It's photographs of my kids and my family, so that if at some point or other I have to prove that who I am, say for instance I get separated from my children, how do I identify my children? Is there any way that I can prove that I'm their dad? Well, I've got photographs of me with them as they're growing up. They're all laminated, and I've got several copies of every single one so that I can hand them out if need be. I've got obviously my birth certificate. I've got copies of their birth certificates, so that it's all based around being able to sort of, justify that you are the person that you say you are. And that if you are lucky enough to be able to enter back into the city or the town or something or other that you live in, for whatever reason it's been blocked off, you can say, look, this is one of my utility bills. I live there, because you can have the situation, certainly not in this country, but I know in other countries you will end up with a situation where blockades go up and you're away from home, but you want to get home. Well, only people who live here can come in. Have you got anything with you? So it's stuff like that. Really, it's going that extra step on top of your normal preps. It's taking that extra step to say this really could go bad, and I really need to have these extra bits. So
it's got to be a lot of thought gone in as well, because it would be very easy to make an overloaded pack, right?
Oh yeah,
that, it's all right having an inch bag if you can't get an inch out your door with it,
but that's the same with anything. I've seen some bug out bags that are bigger than my inch bag, and I'm like, seriously, you're gonna get like a mile before you drop 50% of that gear.
Yeah. Here's a full tent, shelter, 5 days worth of food, gas stove. This is my get home bag. I work 3 hours that way.
Exactly. Yeah. It's ludicrous, some of the stuff you see. But then like I say, this is why I do what I do. I try to help people get past all of what it's taken me, say, 10 years to get past. I can jump you past that very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's good. And I've listened to a few of your shows. It's called What If, your show, I believe. Is that the title? I do like that as the title.
What if survival and prepping? Yes.
Yeah.
So that all comes down to that question, what if that happens?
Yeah.
So what would you do if that happened? What if this happens? What if that happens? So you ask that question, then you can formulate a plan and your view on what you would do in that situation.
Yeah, I've said this on the channel a few times. Don't just think, oh, what if the power goes out? I'll be all right. I've got this. Yeah. Literally play that out in your head. The power's just gone out. Even if you don't want to go on switch. Yeah. Ideally try it, but
yeah. Go on.
I was saying, even if you don't try it, just play it through step by step.
Exactly. I'm a great one for trying stuff. Over the Christmas period, I had a couple of days to myself, which was nice. So I went ahead and went, right, I'm going to go blackout. So I'm going to run on 2 days that we're blacked out. So I ran on everything that I'd got power bank wise. I put my solar into the windows. I cooked on the camping stove. I only used my food preps. And what I was desperate to do, and I'd been thinking about it for a while, was, can I make Christmas dinner out of my food preps? And I did. I was well chuffed. It took a little bit of time. It was actually all right, and it's one of these things, you buy a lot of this stuff and you go, oh, that'd be good. I'll put that to one side, but you never try it. And I try every single one of my food preps because it's taken me now 3 different stints at doing a prolonged period of time with my food preps to get it to a comfortable place where you can survive on it. I mean, I watched one of your videos last night, randomly enough, and it was the dried food bucket that you had been sent.
That one.
Yeah. And I mean, you were doing exactly what I was doing. I'm just doing it from my home food preps, in the fact that I was working my way through it to see what was good, what was bad, what you liked, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I have had one of them was terrible, by the way.
Really? Okay. Yeah. So, but you don't know until you try it. You know, it's one of those things. And the first time I did it, I lasted about 3 days, and it was absolutely awful. I got what I thought I needed, and it was evident within the first 24 hours that I had no variety whatsoever. And I thought, this ain't gonna last, because I've got the food.
Rice and beans.
I just don't want to eat it. You know, it was like, oh god. I wasn't looking forward to putting the next mouthful in. It was like, nah, I'm not doing that. So then I thought, right, well, I'll write myself a little bit of a list. Things I think that I need. What was I craving in those 3 days? And then I added those to my food preps. And then after, I think it was about 5 months, I thought, I'll give it another go now, because the first time was so damn awful. I had to give a bit of a break. And the second time I did it, I lasted 2 weeks, and that worked out relatively okay, but I was massively craving sweet stuff, and I haven't got a sweet tooth. But then it just goes to show that you start craving random things you wouldn't normally have when you have a very limited diet.
Yeah, and there'll be when your diet's much more richer as well, you'll be getting that sweetness in different things that you don't even realize.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, last time I did it, which is 2 months ago, I lasted a full month. So I was very happy with that, and I felt that full month's worth of just literally surviving on my food preps, I was over the moon. I was making my own flatbreads and stuff like that on the camping stove.
Nice.
Because bread is one of those things that is a staple of most people's diet, but you don't think about how do you produce that? You know, how do you actually replicate that thing that you have on a day-to-day basis when you got tins, you know? So I did cornbread and I did normal bread, and they both worked out well, and it was a nice variety. So it worked well, you know, but you've got to try these things. So this is my whole thing. You know, you've just really got to learn it. You got to try it, because when you learn it, I would say my experience tells me that once you've learned something, instantly you go, yeah, I can do that, because you've learned it and you understand it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actually doing it, you realize that you've actually only probably learned about 25% of what you need to learn. 75% is in the doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I learn best. You know, you give me a book and I'll be like, but if once I'm involved in getting practical, that's how I learn best.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and it sinks in. You know, there's stuff that you can read and you go, oh yeah, give it 6 months. Probably chances are you've forgotten half of that.
Yeah.
If you go out and you do it, you won't forget it. What you'll do is it'll inspire you to go and learn something more or improve on what you've just learned.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I need to push more of the bushcraft side of things. It's just having the time to get away from the computer.
Yeah, of course.
Time.
And I find exactly the same. I mean, you're doing like 10 times as much as I do when it comes down to content. But the reason I take that 2-week break is because I want to be able to go off and do these things and come back and have learned something and, you know, communicate what that is across.
It's definitely on the cards more. It's definitely on the cards. I mean, I don't take advantage of the fact that we go to Scotland like every month.
Right. Oh,
she
God,
visits,
yeah.
she visits the family.
Right.
So I'm thinking, next time you could drive. She said, why? I said, because a random piece of forest, I'm jumping out with a bag.
Yeah.
So wherever I am, doesn't matter. I'll take a map, I'll take a compass, and I'm going to find my way through. It's a great idea to just try stuff
definitely,
like that.
Definitely. Watch out for the midges, though. I'm sure you know that if you're up there all the time.
I camped at Dumfries in Galloway once, and you could do this with your hand.
Yes, yeah. It's just like the air's thick of them sometimes. Isn't
Yeah, people who tell me citronella candles will fix it are
Nah.
full of. Unless you're chasing it with it, burning its ass, it doesn't do anything.
You'd need to smear yourself in it,
Yeah.
So
What I just got used to them. You know, it was a
Yeah.
protein in your brew in the morning. Them 6 floaters. It was
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, yeah. Added protein. I don't worry
Added
about
that.
bugs or anything like that. They get consumed if they land on my food or in my coffee or anything like that.
That's it. Try and convince the missus of that. No, not happening.
No.
Speaking of camping,
Mm.
would you like to tell us about this, the Prepper Meet?
Yes.
That is on the cards. That I, after speaking with a couple of you that are organising it, will be attending. So,
Yes,
do you want to tell the
yes.
people about it?
Yeah, so the Prepper Meet that's happening is the Midlands Prepper Meet, as you've got it up on screen, which is the 16th to the 18th of August. It's something that has been on the cards for maybe sort of like 12 months, but very recently it's kind of sort of snowballed, which is nice. And a few of us have sort of got together and said what we feel would be worth doing, and also a little bit of research has been done through all of us in the group to find out why people feel that they don't want to go to Prepper Meets, because for a lot of us it makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, that lot is actually the minority when it comes down to preppers, because as you said, keyboard warriors, I wonder whether a lot of what I wonder is maybe they feel they'll be massively out of their depth. I don't know. But there is definitely a shortfall when it comes down to networking when it's us as preppers. There are people like yourself, people like me, members of the group that I'm part of, and we're all very open with what we do, and we all try and get the message across that being prepared is a better thing. But to be strong when you're being prepared means you got to network, because as a very good friend of mine, Roger, says, everybody's got to sleep at some point. And you need friends. You need someone to look over you. You need someone just to keep watch whilst you're having a nap. And, when you go to a Prepper Meet, what you end up doing is meeting random people, because I've done a couple of Prepper Meets now, and every time I go, I'm shocked at some of the normality that you see. It's a random thing. It's like, I seriously would have just seen you walking down the street with your dog and not thought a thing. And here you are, and you're getting well stuck in with the rest of us. And that's great, because what it does is it demonstrates to everybody at that point that you don't have to be a man to do it. It is very much seen as a very male dominated thing, but equally you don't have to be running around in camo. You don't have to be ex-military to do it. I'm not, I wouldn't ever class myself as being military. But it's a nice thing to be able to go and do. And we were very much, we need to do this more. We need to have more Prepper Meets. There are literally sort of like 2 Prepper Meets that have been established for a while. We had the Bushcraft show this year, was potentially a 3rd one. I wouldn't have classed it as one.
They had a new Prepper Zone, didn't they?
They had a Prepper Zone, which, to a certain degree, I suppose you could argue, well, that draws preppers in. So you're meeting each other. It's a Prepper Meet. Yeah, but, you're paying like 125 quid for a ticket. That's not a Prepper's Meet. You're going to a show, and I didn't go purely because of the fact of the cost of it. I mean, it was absolutely ludicrous. So the way that we looked at it was a Prepper Meet should be low cost but high gain. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to make it as low cost as possible. So the guys have gone out and they've sourced a location, and that, I think that works out, it's £10 per night per adult, and it's £5 per night per child. You can take dogs. In my experience, I found that dogs are a bit of a distraction when they decide they want to have a fight, or they're just going to stand there barking non-stop.
I did read that it's because it's a working farm. If
it
you
is
do
very
take
much a working
dog,
farm.
they've got to be on a leash all the time.
So I mean, if you're going to bring a dog, or if you think that you're going to go, fantastic. More than welcome. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, if you're going to bring a dog, then it has to stay on a lead because it is a working farm. But yeah, it's something that we were all very passionate about, and that's why it snowballed. I think we all just went, sod it, we're going to do our own. And just to be sod's law, I'm in Cornwall, and this is being held in the Midlands, and I've got family coming down to meet me, so I can't go. I know that Shovel Recce can't do it either. He's another one of the members of the group. He's got commitments somewhere else as well. But the overall goal here for us is to make them more acceptable, to get more people want to go to do them, and also to have more choice of where you can go and do them. So we're looking at trying to dot them around the country a little bit, because a lot of the comments we were getting was, it's just too far. And I understand, I really do. I mean, the last one I went to was in Brecon, and for me, that's a 4.5 hour drive. But I'm committed to going. I've been to them. I see the benefit of it. I've very much enjoyed it. So pretty much now, as this one, like I said, is in the Midlands, if I hadn't got family coming down, I would be making the journey because I see that benefit.
One of the things I seem to get when I've spoken about meats to people is the new preppers tend to stay clear because they might have the wrong tent, they might have the wrong cooker. Is it that kind of atmosphere?
No.
Is it like just open?
It's I can't say that it's not that kind of atmosphere for everybody. You got a mix of people. What you got to understand is there is a mix of people from all different walks of life, and they're all going to have an opinion. What you've got to do is go into it with an open mind and go, I'm going to go and see some people, and it's on me at that point to be as humble as possible to say that I've got this stuff, and be open to the fact that it might not be, in someone else's opinion, the right stuff. Don't take it to heart. Just try and learn from it. I mean, I turned up my very first preppers meet, and I did everything possibly that I could to have a really good setup. And bearing in mind, I'd been doing it for like 30 odd years at that point. I was just over the moon at the that Viking Mitch walked past and goes, I like that setup, and carried on walking. I was like, yes, I've done it. I've done it. So, but what we're trying to do is make it as open and as inclusive as possible. And by doing that, there is no judgment. What you got to do is just come with an open mind and accept that no one knows everything. Everybody learns. I would say that I learn something every day is what I aim to do. And if I can come out of going to a prepper meet and I've learned 10 things, and I'm over the moon. If I've managed to share my views and help someone along their journey and taught someone something, then again, I've done what I've gone there to do, because my goal is to help people. And I think that is very much what the group's goal is to help preppers.
Excellent.
So,
well, that's it. That's the hell of a sales pitch. Worst case scenario, you'll get to see me in person and critique my videos in person. So you can.
Well, there you go.
On the keyboard. There you go. So come and meet me and critique my stuff. That'll be the fun bit. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the channel. Thank you very much, Jim. Everyone else, don't forget to go and check out the show on Mixcloud. I've not put the a banner for the Facebook, but it's just No Shit Radio on Facebook.
Right? So you can No Shit Radio is on Facebook, so you can find it on there, and obviously that sort of posts all about the shows that it does on a regular basis. You'll end up with a link that goes up for each post, so you can go directly to that show if you want to. With all the stuff that's on Mixcloud, you'll find that there is a back catalogue. So it's not as if you're just listening to one. You can go back and listen to all the last 21 of my shows if you wish. And, it's nice I found that I've got a lot of people that have said they like to download it and listen to it when they're on a journey and stuff like that, because it's like listening to an audio book. You got me just rattling along, that's all. So
there you go.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you can also, I'm on Facebook as well. So if you search for Jim Moss, you'll find some hairy guy with a camo baseball cap on, and that'll be basically everything that I put on that is either in and around the show, stuff that I've done out and about that might not be included in the show, but equally stuff that people don't want to post on their groups. I found that the forums sometimes can be quite limited. I have stuff I want to post and it doesn't get past admin. So I have my own page. I put what I want on it.
You're on the wrong forums. You need to come to my forum, ukprep.co.uk. We've got our own forum. You know, as long as you're friendly, we don't give a crap.
Well, I'd like to think you know that I'm friendly by now.
Definitely. Right. Would you like to say goodbye to the viewers and listeners?
Yeah. Thank you very much for, again, listening to me rattle on. And, you know, it's been an interesting thing because I always talking and being on my own most of the time. So it's nice to actually have a conversation with someone and be interviewed. And equally, it's probably a treat for some of the people that listen to me to actually be able to see my face, because it's one of the things that invariably you don't get to see. So thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me on, Mike.
Much appreciated. For everyone else, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, all that wonderful stuff, and check out the links in the description. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.